Well, hello, hello. This is Cindy, your host over at Bucket List Coach Web Show Live. Oh my God. I'll get to my guests in just 1 minute. And so a little bit about the show. I'm an aviation geek, as you all know. I love music and I have a podcast and a travel agency. And I created Bucket List Coach Web Show Live as a way for me to connect you to all the amazing people there in my sphere of influence. We're talking travel, music, of course, aviation. Everybody knows I'm a big F-14 Tomcat just geek. So, but today it's all about music and it's National Guitar Month and it's also World Music Therapy Week. So stay tuned for this video.
I can't go for that, no, no can do. I can't go for that, no, no can do.
Private Eyes, the premier tribute to the timeless music of Hall & Oates, the best-selling duo of all time.
Oh yeah, you make my dreams come true.
Private Eyes faithfully recreates a time and place when Daryl Hall and John Oates' chart-topping melodies dominated the airwaves.
Rich girl,
With their smooth grooves,
no it don't.
lush vocal harmonies,
Rich girl, you can rely on the old man's money. You can rely on the old man's money. Every time you go away, you take a little piece, just a little piece of me. You're out of touch, I'm out of time, but I'm out of my head when you're not around. Now I can see love's taking her toll on me. She's gone. She's gone. Oh, I better learn how to face. She's gone. Oh, I'll pay the devil to replace her. She's gone. She's gone. Oh, what a way to roll. Oh, here she comes. She's a lady. The woman is wild. Oh, here she comes. Here she comes. Watch out, boy. Watch out, boy. Oh, here she comes. Sarah, smile.
and Daryl's heavenly blue-eyed soul.
I want you to smile a while for me, Sarah. Private eyes watching you, they see your every move.
Bring this timeless experience to your next event. Available now for bookings worldwide.
Private eyes watching you, watching you, watching you, watching you.
Nice.
Private Eyes in the house. How are you, boys?
Woo woo.
Good.
What's up?
Well,
What's
let's
up, Cindy?
talk about how it all started.
Wow. Where do we start? Well, I was mentioning before we started that that Nate and I we still work together. We don't see each other much now, but we work together at the same TV production company. We still do, and we had started talking music even a few years before we started Private Eyes. We were just chit-chatting, realized that Nate was a fellow musician, so we of course bonded over that, and we were geeking out about yacht rock and stuff like that. And then Nate actually moved away for a while, and then when he came back, was just kind of getting off the ground with Private Eyes. And so we had an early lineup where we didn't do any gigs, but we were kind of getting started. And then once we were kind of getting our final lineup in place, Nate and I reconnected, and figured he knew he could do the good stash. And so, anyways, we started talking, and that's kind of how Nate kind of got joined in. And and then my business partner Carl Lewis and I, we had been even before I brought Nate into the fold, we had been wanting to kind of do this, and so we had started just kind of putting everything together and kind of doing our research and figuring out kind of how we wanted to do it. It's kind of the early stages of it.
And so why Hall & Oates? What's your love for those guys? Like, why are you a tribute band for them? Where did that love all start for music?
I don't know. What do you say, Nate? For your
Well, I was just gonna say, I remember recording little demo auditions when I was in Colorado and sending it to Chris back in 2018.
Oh yeah.
And that was like the first. I remember like being in my dark studio like 10 p.m. And like listening to all these tracks and like sending it to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then it's been great getting it going in 2019. But so what were you asking, Chris? Why? What was
it's kind of your take. I'll answer in a minute. Cindy was asking just kind of like, what about Hall & Oates kind of, attracted us individually to, want to spend the time and effort to do a tribute.
Right. Well, I think for me, I always liked the 6 to 8 hits that I knew going into the band. And I personally was kind of just back in LA playing music and ready to try anything, ready to try something. And I knew like, oh, Hall & Oates is a good vibe and Chris is a good vibe. So I was like, let's see how this goes. And then getting into it, I was shocked at like how I was really like grew to love, or not even grew to love, but just instantly connected with the vibe. And I've always been into R&B throughout most of my life, and soul and rock. And so it's like so coming in, I got elements of all of those, or we were playing elements of all of those. And I feel like that was a real easy thing for me to like vibe with and jump right into.
Wow.
Yeah. And I would say for me, it's just that, it's like they were, the music's great. It's infectious. It's, so many hits, one of the things, obviously, thinking as a tribute band doing just that, it's like you got to have enough hits to fill 90-minute to up to 2-hour set. And it's like with Hall & Oates, it's like I knew that on my end, I knew that would be a home run, that they just had so many hits. You could put together a whole show. Obviously, it's fun to do some deep cuts every now and then, but it's like as far as you could pretty much do a whole show of songs that people not only are going to know, they're going to know the lyrics to. Most of them are danceable. It's going to just make for a really good time for the audience. And the other thing too that I was kind of surprised, I'm like there were hardly any bands out there doing that. There's some tributes where you've got 10 or 20 different bands across the country doing the same artist. And I was surprised there were like 1 or 2 other Hall & Oates tributes. At the time, there was nobody touring doing that. And so, which I thought was kind of interesting. Once we got into it, I kind of realized why. I'm like, oh, this is a lot harder than it sounds.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably part of the reason why. It's just, it's not easy to kind of pull it off, just right. But anyways, that was part of the motivation on my end and on Carl's end for.
I love your music. So the next thing I want to talk about this week is World Music Therapy Week. How do you feel that music is good therapy for people, no matter what they're dealing with? I mean, music is just a feel-good thing to add to our abundance lives. How do you feel about that, Chris?
Yeah,
I can tell you.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, music, it's funny talking about music therapy. I've got a playlist that I use when I go on my walks or sometimes driving around, and there's songs that I would say 3/4 of them are songs. They're older songs that are really special to me. You'll hear a song and it will take you right back to like 5th grade or middle school or something. And so at some point I started putting together a Spotify compilation of that and actually title it CW's Music Therapy, CW's Song Therapy. And it's like I've got enough tracks on it now that I'm always listening to it without repeating a lot of tracks. But it is therapeutic for me because it'll take me to an era, and then it makes me think. I'm thinking it could be a happy era. It could have been a troubling or an unhappy era. But whenever it takes me back to that year, I think about what was going on in my life, and in particular, if it was say a problematic area, then I can look at it now at distance. It's like, oh, I overcame that. At the time, I thought it was insurmountable, but overcame that, and I'm doing pretty good in that department, And to me, that's therapeutic. I'm like, oh, okay, I realized that I solved a problem I had way back then, and the music kind of helps that realization, and so it's very therapeutic for me in that regards.
So we got Valerie Harris. She says, love them. Yeah, she's one of my friends here in my sphere of influence. She's from Seattle, actually.
The therapy, it's funny that you brought that up, and that happens to be like this month while we're chatting, because it's shocking how many people come up to us after the show. And, we have a bit about like one of our songs is influenced by a 1985 song. And so at the end of these shows, people will come up to me and be like, you guys took me back to 1970 something. You guys took me back to the 80s. Like, and they literally are reliving like their past during the show. Like, people have literally told me that. And we've also had people where it's like they're hearing songs or they're seeing people in the band do certain things and it reminds them of their loved ones. Like, we had one lady who had a son pass away, and she said one of the guys in the band reminded her of him, and it was really like beautiful to see. She was like in tears after the show, and so it's crazy to see how music like gets a response out of people in different ways, and it definitely like has an impact, like you're talking in a therapeutic way, like you're talking about. Like, we see it firsthand every show.
Well, for me, what comes to mind is my first beer. I started drinking at 14. Yeah, in my late 50s, I don't drink that much anymore. But yeah, I started drinking, I think, 77, 78. But yeah, I mean, they were always on my ear. Yeah, just an amazing band. And they're actually going to continue to always be amazing throughout the years. And for you guys to carry on that legacy. And that's just so amazing. You guys are phenomenal. So thank you for doing what you do.
Cindy.
And National Guitar Month, how will you guys celebrate that?
Well, I'm celebrating right now. I'm recording some guitar for one of my solo tracks, and let's see, we have a show coming up that I think we're gonna shred extra hard at to celebrate. What about you, Chris? What are you doing with your guitar over there?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be, playing bass, obviously practicing woodshedding, maybe we've got a couple of additional songs that, we've been throwing around as far as learning for private eyes. And so I'm hoping to maybe get the ball rolling on those. So that'll be some personal practice time, and then that'll translate into some band practice time. And so, just kind of always doing that, but it's kind of cool to know that it's appropriate for National Guitar Month as well.
Definitely. And let's talk about the tour dates for the rest of the year.
Yeah, we have a few others that are not on this chart yet because we're still kind of finishing up, the logistics of them. We actually do have one coming up before this listed here. We're going to be at Desert Diamond Casino outside of Tucson on May 9th.
Oh, nice.
We haven't announced it. Well, I guess we're announcing it now. Yeah, that's one we just recently booked with a little less turnaround time than normal. So that'll be coming up. We may be adding an additional Arizona date on that trip. And then we've, got a handful of, it's kind of nice to have some Southern California stuff. We do a lot of traveling. As far as last year, we probably did more East Coast shows than we did out here. And so we've been working on trying to get some actual drivable stuff as well, and so we're kind of nice that we've got a handful of, Southern California stuff coming up between now and the end of the year as well. And then some additional travel stuff that we're still working on that'll be happening later in the fall.
So let's go through the list and see what we have to go out in other areas, and also if you're going to go out of the country again this year.
You want to go down the list of our dates here?
Yes.
So the next one, which is on May 9th and 10th, is or May 9th, like I said, is a Desert Diamond Casino outside of Tucson. Old Town Blues Club is a fun club. We've played there twice already. We're going to be there twice this year in Temecula. That's always a fun one.
Those guys are awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
You got to come to that show.
Nate, being one of our frontmen and really getting to interact up close with the audience. How would you describe that?
Oh man, I love Old Town Blues Club, and if you guys could come to any of these shows, that would be one that's top of my list, just because it's a little bit more intimate venue, but it still holds a lot of people, and that place just has a lot of character. Like there's saxophones on the walls, there's pictures of musicians on the
Oh
walls.
my God.
The
Wow.
lighting is very colorful, so it's very musical and it like inspires creativity, and it's full bar. So or actually it might just be beer and wine, but Sydney, they'll have beer for you to reminisce and and have your beer.
Yeah, 'cause you know what's next, Nate? The very next day.
Yeah, I do. The
Top
USS
Gun
Midway.
movie night,
Top
baby.
Gun.
Midway Museum.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, so that's perfect. So like they're what, like an hour and a half from each other? So you
Yeah,
get
they're
a
so
hotel
close.
for the night and then head to San Diego. Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
Chris,
go.
if you missed the last one, they're doing Top Gun on the ship again.
Oh,
On
they
USS
are?
Midway. Yeah.
Hey, I may want to go to that because I was really bummed that I missed it. And I just recently saw both Top Guns, and so I'm kind of mentally in that mode. So yeah, I may have to hit y'all up for more info on that.
You can hitch a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
like the sound of that. It could be fun.
Well, you have to have your gear. Yeah, so you have to go to Amazon.com and order your gear. That way you could be in full uniform with us on the
There you
Top
go.
Gun.
Okay, yeah, I'd have to fit in.
Yeah.
And then Rockyard Fantasy Springs on June 28th. We've played there a few times before. That's a really fun show. It's an outdoor little like mini amphitheater. That's a lot of fun. Rock and Brews in July, as we kind of call that our home stage. We're there usually every 3 or 4 months out of Yamava Casino in Highland.
Mm-hmm.
So just about an hour, well, depending on traffic, good hour and a half outside of LA. And then we've got the Lobster Fest in Fountain Valley, which should be a lot of fun. That's a pretty big festival. They've been doing it for a number of years now, and that'll be interesting. The fact that we're playing with 4 or 5 bands that day on the same stage. Usually it's just us, and so this will be kind of interesting playing sandwiched in between some other bands. So that's going to be kind of a fun vibe, I think. And can't go wrong with Lobster also. And then also in November, which we haven't published it yet because we're still getting all the details, but we are going to be back out on the road for about a week, possibly even a week and a half. We've got 2 confirmed dates. I think it's November 12th. We're going to be in Marshalltown, Iowa, outside of Des Moines. And
I have some people that could attend that. That's awesome.
Nice. And then about 3 or 4 days after that, it's going to be quite a bit of a road trip. We're going to be, I think it's the 15th of November, whatever that Saturday is. We're going to be in West Point, Virginia. And so we're going to be basically between Iowa and Virginia, and probably another show in between or around one of those areas. That's kind of what we're working on right now. So once we finalize all those details, then we will be publishing those as well. But it'll be nice to get back out, into the Midwest and East Coast again later in the year.
Yeah, is that by Oceana by chance? Because I have a few people out there as well.
West Point?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know it's on the coast east of, I believe, Richmond, not too far from Norfolk.
So, anything else you'd like to add? We have another 10 minutes on the show. Any if someone has a dream to start a tribute band, like what is your best tip for that?
Yeah, Chris.
My turn.
Chris.
One thing I would say first is do your research, because you want to know what the competition is. Not that it's necessarily competition, but if it's in your market, it could be. The other thing too, I think, is research the tribute bands to the artist you want to do, and also similar artists. Maybe artists in the same genre, because that can also kind of give you an idea of kind of like what types of venues you can play, what size of venues. If you see a band doing something that's what you want to do, and you can see, oh, that band's touring, or that band may be doing it full time, and so that kind of gives you an idea. It's like, okay, even though you may be the new band and this other band is established, it gives you an idea of the potential, or if it's something maybe a little less commercial, you can look and say, oh, okay, these guys are, just doing basically local smaller bars. And if you don't want to travel, then that's a good way as well, saying, oh, okay, I can keep busy kind of playing in my area. But it gives you an idea of what's possible. And then, of course, once you know that, then you figure out how to break all the rules and to make anything possible that you want to do,
And so your growth story is pretty powerful, right? So do you guys do all your bookings, or do you have a management company that does that for you?
We've got it's my business partner Carl and I we own and manage the band, and so we do some of that. Other guys in the band have recommended stuff, so sometimes we all kind of put our heads together from time to time, saying, "Hey, here's a venue. Why don't you try this? Why don't you try that?" And then we've got a handful of 4 or 5 agents that we work with as well, and so it's kind of just juggling all those that can keep us busy. And then Nate's actually been working on something that we may be doing for next year. Still up in the air, but if okay. Yeah. Anyway, so as far as I was mentioning, members,
too early to say on that one, right, Chris?
He's got something that's a brainchild in the works that may or may not happen, but that's where he's kind of helping out with.
And
that.
yes, Cindy,
I have 2 ideas for you.
And yes, Cindy, it is international, Cindy. To answer your question earlier.
So check this out. I'm turning 60 next year. So National Bucket List Day happens every April 24th. So the weekend of April 24th, we'll be in Las Vegas. So it'd be cool if we can get you back over at Sunset. And then also Seattle is in July. So that would fulfill my birthday bucket list if I could actually have you guys at a concert at one of those venues. So since it's guitar month and I want to learn to play guitar, what is the easiest song to learn for my bucket list?
That would be
not Jane by Starship, right?
Hey, you can't go wrong with that riff. I don't know. What would you say, Nate? Being the guitar.
Sorry, I was losing you for a sec. You're learning to play guitar, Cindy?
That's on my bucket list. Yes.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
I haven't done it yet, but it definitely is on my list for next year for my 60th year round.
You should check out pickupmusic.com. It's a great resource for learning.
Okay.
I still do it.
Teach me, actually.
I'll teach you.
That would be really cool.
You're gonna have to come up to Glendale, but that's quite a trek for you.
Are you in Glendale now?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not in LA?
No. Well, we're close enough. Yeah.
How far from Culver City are you?
Probably 30-40 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, because we've been doing this whole Jeopardy thing. Like, you could actually go to Jeopardy. I think it's like 3 or 4 hours, and you get to do a couple tapings. But the only thing with Jeopardy is you have to shuddy. Like, you can't like yell out the answers. But it's a really great little bucket list. That might be something we can knock out. And
there you go.
That'd be really cool. I watched let's do it. Really, I'd love to go to a taping of that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, and I'll let you guys know when I get back from Mexico. Maybe we can get a few people together and stuff.
That would be
fun. Do that in a heartbeat.
I've always wanted to do Wheel of Fortune or go to
Wheel of Fortune. That's in that same studio. Right there in Sony. Yeah.
But as far as guitar riffs, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, hon.
As far as guitar riffs, I was learning some CCR the other day, and I was like, wow, they're so iconic, but they're also so they're very chord tone. They're very much made up of chord tones. So it's they're pretty simple to play some of the riffs. And so that you could check out some of their hit songs, and that would be maybe easy to pick up, as a beginner guitarist.
Okay. Wow.
But still fun to play.
Yeah, my back in the day was actually Sammy Hagar, and I don't know if you know that Sammy Hagar has a bar here in Huntington Beach now.
Oh, really?
At the Waterfront Hilton, yeah. So maybe we can get together at some point for that too, and maybe we can do something here. Do you ever do Huntington Beach or just Fountain Valley? Is that all you have for Orange County and maybe the fair?
We've done the Laguna a little bit.
Okay, is that private?
We're talking. We hopefully may be down there again at a venue later in the year, but it's still up in the air right now. And then we're just last month we're at the Laguna Woods Village Performing Arts Center, and that one was just for residents of Laguna Woods Village. But that was a lot of fun. Oh, and cool. Then we were near you, right? The last gig we did before the pandemic was at the Newport Dunes, annual gathering that they have. And
when was that?
It was literally 3 days before the whole world shut down for the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah. We played with my buddy's got a Depeche tribute called Strange Love. And so we actually opened for them, which is kind of an interesting pairing musically, but it worked and it was a lot of fun. And that was a great show. So,
John what venue was that in Laguna?
Yeah.
What venue was that?
In Laguna?
Yes. Was it at the beach club there?
No. That was a Laguna Woods Village, the Performing Arts Center when we were down there. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
and the one in the one in Newport was, I don't even
Newport
think
Dunes, right?
Newport. Yeah, I think it was kind of like a
Oh,
port
Newport
venue,
News.
so it
Okay,
was
so it's
under a
two
tent.
separate venues. Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the comment here, Nate, and
Yeah, John says "Knock
yeah,
on
Chris?
Heaven's Door," which that was one of the first songs I learned on guitar as well. So he's totally right on with that.
Right on.
That
Good
one's
deal.
fun, and the solos on that are pretty fun and kind of simple.
Cool. Well, we're about to end the show, and I have two questions. The first question is going to be a shout out, and then after that, we're going to talk about the value of Pay It Forward. So, who would you guys like to shout out to today?
I'll shout out to John Oates because he seems to give back a lot to musicians, and I have a friend who he actually was in their music video in Nashville, like a couple of years ago, and he played like a high school gymnasium coach. And I was like, this is hilarious to see John in this video. But I think he seems like a pretty chill dude. I haven't met him yet, but shout out to him for creating all this stuff. And FYI, my last name's not actually Oates. That was just a joke. But
You're not some distant cousin
yeah.
or anything, right?
Yeah. The Stashes are twins, but we are not. But anyways, yeah, that's it for me. Hey,
Yeah.
Dad. Hey,
you?
Burner.
Well, I was gonna say, even with the beard, Nate, you kind of look like '70s Oates when he had the full beard going. So
Right.
yeah, both looks going. Stash.
That's a good look. Yeah, it's a good look.
Yeah, for me, shout out, I would say to Daryl Hall, kind of like what Nate was saying, as far as just, for giving us this great music that has been therapeutic to some of our lives. And it's been, just a lot of fun and challenge for us to spend all the hours that we do, learning, playing the music, and then traveling and all the stuff related to devoting all your time to doing a tribute band to this type of music, and wouldn't be possible without either of them. So yeah, my shout out will go to Daryl.
Any response to Bernie?
Thanks, Dad. I'm doing my best. That's my father.
All right, next question. Well, let me do a shout out. I'm going to do a shout out to you guys because I met Nate, I think 5, 6, 7 years ago. And just so grateful for you, Nate, to be in my sphere of influence and be in my life. I'm very grateful. And of course, F14 Tomcat, that's our love. And Chris, wow, so grateful for you. And thank you for being in my sphere of influence and adding abundance. Just seeing those videos. I mean, you guys are repurposing those videos. Yeah, it just really adds just so much smile in my heart. So I just wanted to thank you. And of course, everybody over at your band, please send them all my best. And we have another comment here.
You too, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on. This has been really fun. Oh, he says
so Daryl's house. You know where that is?
We're familiar with it, and we're working on that. That's definitely on our list. So hopefully that can happen, because it would be a perfect scenario. So
is that San Diego or Baja?
No, it's actually in New York, outside of New York City, maybe a couple hours, in Pawling, New York.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whenever we're able to make it up to that area, it's definitely on our list for sure.
And the last question, National Bucket List Day is coming up on the 24th of April. It's a Wednesday. How would you like to check off your bucket list on that day? Either be business, personal, something fun, or travel?
For me,
go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say for me, I would say travelaholic, but I don't get to travel as much as I would like to. But I love travel. I'm a geography nerd, so I won't be available to do any kind of traveling on April 24th. But if I could, probably one of the top spots on my list has always been Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan.
Oh yeah.
So if I were able to just say on April 24th, hop on a plane somewhere, I'd definitely be going to the Himalaya region.
Nate?
Sweet. That sounds awesome, Chris. Well, my girlfriend Tessa and I are going to Hawaii tomorrow morning. We're going to Oahu, and that's a first for me. And I really would like to cliff jump off the top of a waterfall. So we're going to be looking for that.
Oh, nice.
And also there's a sandbar that's in the middle of the ocean that seems pretty amazing. So these are a few, we're doing a pretty spectacular hike, and the sandbar and waterfalls. And so those are definitely some, seeing all of the Hawaiian Islands is on my bucket list for sure.
So what are the dates? Will you be there on the 24th by chance?
No, we're coming back on Tuesday or Wednesday, the 16th.
Wow. Yeah.
I know.
Well,
Close enough though.
that's cool. Yeah. I'm actually going to be in
I would
Cancun
count
with
that,
25
sure.
people. But what I want to say, because we're talking rock and roll and guitars and stuff,
Yeah.
one of my biggest lists is to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's like huge. In my list.
Oh.
Have you guys been there?
Oh my gosh. No, I haven't.
No, I was just looking at video footage of it last week, and it was making me want to go. But nope.
Yeah.
Really?
Either.
Well,
Nope.
well, we need to do like maybe a rock and roll holiday, and maybe we could do like a group trip. You know, get
It's like a field trip.
That'd be a great field trip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
Yeah. So we're at the end
Sounds
of our
awesome.
show. Any tips you like to put out there about celebrating Guitar Month?
Keep practicing. I definitely consistent practice makes all the difference in the world versus putting in 20 hours in one day, you know, consistent multiple times a week. This is for you, Cindy, but that makes a huge difference. And it's making a huge difference for me currently.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I
Chris?
think Nate said it all, and also too, I mean, there's, you know, as long as you don't get too lost down the rabbit hole, I mean, there's anything you could imagine on like YouTube, and so, you know, find your favorite artist, and you know, a lot of them, I mean, sure, there's concert videos, but a lot of artists will do a rig breakdown. You know, I saw one of John Oates, you know, where they go through all their effects and how they do it. So it's like you can play, but then you can also get into the other aspect of your performer, want to match a tone. And so a lot of the stuff, in addition to just practicing, like Nate says, you know, go on YouTube, do some research, listen to interviews, so you can kind of see the approach that these people are coming from personally. And it's just, that's also very educational, and, you know, something that, you know, we all didn't have 20, 30 years ago. So I think that's a great resource for musicians these days.
Totally.
Well, great. So in closing, I'm going to do a call to action. So anybody who goes to where'scindynow.com, that's WHERES, cindynow.com, or the tribute page. What's the tribute page on YouTube?
On ours, just search under, it was a cryptic name. Just do a search under Private Eyes Hall & Oates Tribute.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
you'll be able to find us.
So you go to either one of our pages, you subscribe, you comment on either one of our videos, you share it to Facebook. I will gift you a 6-day, 5-night hotel stay. I cover the hotel, you cover the tax. Or if that's not something you want, totally for free, I actually will send you a bucket list ebook on how to mark off the ultimate bucket list and live your life through music, fun, and travel. So I'm going to put you in the green room, and if you can hang tight just for 1 minute, and we'll continue. Thank you,
Sounds
guys.
good.
Thanks, Cindy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
So make sure that you go to our YouTube. You could actually see it here in the show notes. And we are here today, gone tomorrow. And never forget, guys, we have the day that we're born and the day that we pass away. We have that dash in between there. Go out and live your dash. And you could take a vacation. You could do all kinds of things for low cost. And I actually have some great things here in Southern California where you could do under $50. As a matter of fact, this Sunday is National Dolphin Day. And another thing, take the time to show gratitude to people every single day. Think of at least 5 people to call and show gratitude. This is Cindy over at Bucket List Coach, Web Show Live. And don't forget, celebrate National Guitar Month.